Hello, this is part 5 of the series on how to price an option using a binomial tree. Just now we look at U, which is the size of a up move by the stock, and D, which is the size of a down move by the stock. The third one we look at in section 4 is P, which is the probability of making an up move. And here we have A minus D over U minus D. D and U are from above. A is something new, and depending on what the underlying asset is, we put in different things. So a stock with no dividend, E to the power RT. R is our risk-free rate. If the underlying asset of which the option is based on is a stock with dividend or a index with a dividend yield, then we put in for A, E to the power R minus Q times T. Q is our dividend yield. For a option on currency, we use E to the power R, local risk-free rate, minus the foreign risk-free rate times T. For a option on futures, we put in 1 for futures as our A. So this is our P, the probability of the stock or underlying asset making an up move in price. Of course, we have a binomial tree, 2 possible price movements. If P is this, then 1 minus P is our probability of a down movement. So after this, we have all 5 elements we need to begin our construction of the tree, or our second step. Here, the first thing I will do is to just make the tree itself fully written on the paper so I know what I'm getting into. Here, in our example, we have 4 steps. So here, this is the first step. So we have the initial stock price, and it either moves up or down. So we have 1 step up to here. In our second step, we now have 2 possible price at that point based on the result of step 1. One is if the stock price moved up, and the other if the stock price moved down. So here in the second time step, I have 2 possible starting points. One is if the stock price had moved up, and here there's 2 possible ways it moved. One is up and one is down. Same with the down scenario. The stock price moved down in the first step. Now it either go up or down. So here we have the second step, third step, and the fourth step. So here after the fourth step, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 possible ending underlying asset price at the end of these 4 steps. Here we will look at how something about this tree first before we start calculating. Of course, if you're asked to do a 3-step tree, you would construct your tree so it ends here and you don't need the 4th step. So it depends on what you're being asked to do. Now let's look at this tree first. Here I'm looking at the same tree as the previous step, but here I'm looking at some relationship that you should know. Here I start with the price here, which is our X here, and we have up or down possibilities. And in theory, we need to figure out the stock price of each of these points. So for each possible price movement, I need to know what the stock price is at all these points. Except if you think, well, it's going to take a lot of calculations, the tree is structured so that because we take D equals to 1 over U, so each time if we look at this, the stock price moved up first and then it moved down, we end up at the same place as we were before in terms of the stock price level. So if we look, if we have a 4-step tree, this would be the same price. So if you're doing the calculation, only to do this, This one you don't need to do. You can just copy the same number. Same for these 2 time steps. The price, the stock price here will be the same as the stock price here. So only one calculation is needed. The same with these 3 lines. So it really reduced the number of calculations we need because many nodes are the same as we move along the tree.